right? So
and nights 2 and 3.
right. So again, getting back to Eddie's shenanigans. Eddie rented a cow to plow on the mountain. Now, mountain is rocky and hilly. The Choresh Babika, he plowed in the valley, which is softer land. In Nishbara Kankan, if the beam of the plow breaks, potter, Eddie is potter, because the mountain is more rocky. And if he did it on softer ground, so I can't hold him accountable, so he's potter. But if I stipulated that he should plow Babika in the valley on soft ground, and the Choresh Bahar, and he used it, he disobeyed and he used it on the mountain, which is rocky, Im Nishbar Akankin. It's going, okay. And then push the button for Kol Lashon. Okay, let's do that again. We're learning the Mishna Yomis for tomorrow, Tuesday. If I rent Eddie a cow to plow in the mountain, which is rocky terrain, the Choresh Babika, he did it in the valley, which is softer. Im Nishbar Kankan, if the plow beam breaks, potter, because he can't be held accountable. He did it on even softer ground than what he made up with me. But Babika, if I said, Eddie, only use it on the valley, I don't want to risk my beam. The Choresh Bahar, and he went and he plowed on the rocky mountainous terrain, then in Nishbar Kankan, then if the beam breaks, he's chayav. Now, beans, legumes, are very slippery. They're much more slippery than grain. So Lodosh Bekidnius, I said that he could thresh with beans. V'dosh betvua, and he threshed with grain, and the animal slips potter, because he was even allowed to do it with slippery stuff. But if I stipulated Lodosh betvua, that he should thresh with grain, which is not slippery, V'dosh Bekidnius, and he disobeyed and he threshed with beans, which are slippery, then he's chayiv. Mibnei shakitnius machalekes, because the beans are slippery. Now Mishnah Hay says, again, dealing with Eddie, who came back to cause trouble, I leased to Eddie a donkey to transport wheat. Now wheat is heavier than barley. And he transported barley. Now he transported the same weight. Let's say I allowed him a certain weight. He transported the same weight of barley. But because barley is lighter, there was a greater volume. So he said, look, it's the same weight, Rabbi Weiss. But because it's a bigger volume, the animal couldn't handle it. So chayiv. Eddie, it's not just weight. It's svei dinim. There's weight and there's volume. And even though Eddie, was a chacham, a lamdan, and he says, well, if I could have 30 pounds of wheat, then I could have 30 pounds of barley. But 30 pounds of barley is more barley. And the volume the animal can't handle, and therefore Eddie is chayiv. Tzvua, similarly, I stipulated he should transport grain. Ve'eviola tevin, straw. Straw is lighter. So he stipulated, he took a load of straw the same weight as the load of grain, but it's a bigger volume, then he's chayiv. Because the volume is also dangerous for the weight of the animal. Now let's say, if we stipulated lahavi lesach chitin, lesach is a half a kur, 15 sa. So I stipulated that he should transport 15 sa of wheat. Ve'evi lesach sarim, and he transported 15 sa of barley. Then he didn't deviate. It's the same volume, and adrab, the barley is lighter, then he's potter. However, again, vim hoisif al maso, but if he added more barley, right, and to equal the weight of a lesach of chitim, but since there's a bigger volume, then chayiv. Then he would be chayiv. V'kama yoisif al maso v'yei chayiv. How much does he have to add to the allowed weight for him to be considered negligent for him to be considered derelict and to be chayav for the damage of the animal. Sumcha Zayma Mishim Reb Meir. Sumcha says in the name Reb Meir, a saw legamal, if he puts in an overage of a saw by a camel, which is strong, or shloisha kavim, a half a saw is 6 kav, so a half a kav, a 3 kavim, a half a saw for a chamor who's not as strong as a camel. Okay, so now we're one day ahead if you're counting score, and we want to thank you for joining us. Tomorrow, in Metzia Hashem, I wasn't able to do a chok tonight, it just wasn't possible, but tomorrow, in Metzia Hashem, we will have a shir after the daf on for the Sukkos table, for the Shabbos Sukkos table. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a wonderful evening.